अब हम लेबनान की पार्लियामेंट के एक मेंबर हैं इलियास स्टीफान, उनसे बात करेंगे। ये हिजबुल्लाह के मुखालिफ हैं और इनसे पूछेंगे कि अगर हिजबुल्लाह को गैर मुसल्लह कर दिया जाए तो क्या लेबनान में अमन कायम हो जाएगा। Thank you very much for giving us time. We want to know your reaction about the recent joint statement issued after talks between United States and Iran and Switzerland, and Lebanon was mentioned in that. Do you have any hopes that the talks between United States and Iran will produce some positive result for Lebanon?
Thank you for taking this. Of course, initially, my take on the whole situation is as follows. The memorandum of understanding that was signed between the U.S. and Iran recently is basically about the Iranian-United States relationship. Now, in one of the clauses, mainly I think Clause 1 or Article 1 of the MOU, there was an agreement on cessation of fire in Lebanon. Now, of course, the Lebanese Republic was not part of this MOU. I would understand that the Americans and the Iranians are trying to put pressure on Hezbollah in order to stop the fighting in Lebanon, because in parallel, we have the ongoing Lebanese-Israeli negotiations that are happening in Washington. And as you know, the situation between Lebanon and Israel, especially after the recent wars that happened since 2023 up until today, have been extremely complicated. And you have the Israeli side that's basically holding the position that it will not withdraw from Lebanon or stop any fire unless Hezbollah stops firing at Israel, and there's disarmament of Hezbollah, because that would lead to the normalization of relationships and perhaps towards a long-lasting peace process. Now, of course, the Lebanese government has confirmed to the whole world that it wishes that to separate the track of negotiation from from any other track of negotiation, specifically the negotiation between the U.S. and Iran, being that Lebanon is a sovereign state and Lebanon is the only one that could talk on its behalf. So we have the President of the Republic, we have the Prime Minister and the Lebanese government that are basically overseeing the negotiations that are happening in Washington. Going back to the U.S.-Iranian deal, I think that Iran has interest in preserving its interests in the region, specifically in Lebanon. And as we all know, and it's not a hidden thing, that Iran is the main supporter of Hezbollah. Hezbollah has been acting according to the orders of the Iranian Revolution, the IRCG, and any demand coming from Iran towards Hezbollah will comply. So I think that the Iranians, in this particular article in the MOU, are basically guaranteeing the ceasefire from the Hezbollah side in order for the Lebanese-American or Lebanese-Israeli negotiations to take a stand, basically.
Do you think that if Israel withdraw its forces from south of Lebanon, then Iran will be in a position to force Hezbollah to hold their rocket fires inside Israel?
The Israelis will definitely not pull out of Lebanon unless there is a guarantee that Hezbollah will no longer fire any missiles towards the Israeli territories. That's become very obvious. It's become very obvious from the negotiations. It's become very obvious from all the statements that the Israeli officials and the Israeli government are basically publishing to the public. So the Iranians must force Hezbollah to basically stop launching those rockets. And once those rockets are stopped, and there's a guarantee that they're stopped and they will never occur again, then I think the Lebanese-Israeli negotiations would basically proceed into a potential withdrawal from the Israeli soldiers from all the occupied land in the south of Lebanon.
Hezbollah is part of the Lebanese parliament. Hezbollah is part of the Lebanese government.
Yes.
They have ministers in the cabinet. But why they are opposing the direct talks between Israel and Lebanon?
Well, it's very obvious because the direct talks between Lebanon and Israel would definitely allude to resolving any kind of disputes that are there, would allude to the disarmament of Hezbollah, which is totally against their interest, and would probably allude to a certain peace process, be it long-lasting peace or be it a temporary agreement of security or anything of that nature. And obviously, consequently, the reason being of Hezbollah carrying arms and weapons outside of the state and in parallel to the state, and their occupation of Lebanon, I would call it, both from a political perspective and from a military perspective, would cease. And therefore, that would allude to the end of Hezbollah, especially the military arm of Hezbollah. And of course, this is against their interest. And it's also against the Iranian interests, which basically Hezbollah takes into account more than any other interest, and definitely more than the Lebanese interest that's at stake.
The Lebanese government banned the military wing of Hezbollah in March this year. But we cannot see the implementation on this ban on the ground. What is the reason?
I'll tell you. First of all, we have to cite the agreement that was reached on the 27th of October 2024, which basically resulted in the disarmament of Hezbollah and the dysfunctioning of all Hezbollah military operations in Lebanon. And of course, Hezbollah did not apply their obligation under that agreement, which they've approved to begin with. Then consequently, the Lebanese government took a stand both on 5 and 7 of August, and then again on the 2nd of March, declaring that all military operations, even political presence of Hezbollah has become illegal, and therefore the government needs to move to the disarmament of Hezbollah and the repossession of the war and peace decision, which has been taken hostage by Hezbollah for such a long time. Of course, remains is the implementation of those decisions. As you know, the situation in Lebanon is complicated. Is very, very complicated. You still have the deep state that is heavily involved in Lebanese politics in Lebanon. And there's always threats from Hezbollah to disturb the internal peace and perhaps go for a civil war or something like that. So I guess that the government and the Lebanese president have been taking those factors into consideration, and they've been trying for the past 15 months, ever since the October 2024 agreement was reached, to see if they can mediate with Hezbollah in order to make the disarmament as peaceful as possible. But then again, that did not happen. So now we are in a different scenario. Hezbollah made Lebanon enter into a new war as of 2nd of March 2026, supporting Iran with its war with the U.S. And therefore, things have become much more serious. It has become very evident to the Lebanese government and to the Lebanese president that mediation is not something that they should consider with regards to Hezbollah, because it's not reaching, or it's not alluding to a satisfactory result. So therefore, I think that the Lebanese government is now today more serious than ever in implementing its decisions. Of course, we have in parallel the negotiations happening in Washington. We have to see what would result in the next 3 days from those negotiations that are happening. And ultimately, the Lebanese government should take a stand and should take a position to execute its own decisions in disarming Hezbollah, repossessing the decision of war and peace, and declaring its sovereignty once and for all.
Can you define the deep state in Lebanon?
Well, as you know, the deep state in Lebanon goes back almost 40 years. Of course, during war and corruption, you have elements of the deep state start to rise, and we consider that the deep state is everywhere in the government in Lebanon, be it in the justice system, in the military, in the internal security, in the public departments, in the decision-making departments. And that deep state basically, and according to all the factors that have happened in Lebanon over the years, have rooted itself deeply into the government, whereby it's been taking decisions on behalf of the government against government interests. And therefore, that deep state has been there for a long time. It's been there for 40 years. Of course, it's going to take time to get rid of it. But this is part of the, in my opinion, part of the implementation of the government decision is to clean up the state from that deep government as much as possible, be it from restructuring of the justice system, be it from the restructuring of the military, removal of certain officers and a reappointment of others, because obviously it's very deeply such officers, for example, their relationship with Hezbollah is so deeply rooted that they act in Hezbollah's interests more than they act in the Lebanese interests.
And in your opinion, what is the ultimate solution for Lebanon? How can you bring peace in Lebanon?
Well, the only thing that we see that brings peace to Lebanon is the disarmament of Hezbollah, Hezbollah returning under the umbrella of the state taking control, declaring its own, putting sovereignty as a priority. Once that is done, then I think that there will be no more reason for any wars that are happening, specifically on the Israeli border. Once that's done and the decisions of the government are implemented, the international resolutions are implemented, such as Resolution 1701, in addition to that, which all have one common point, which is the disarmament of Hezbollah, the repossession of the state of the war and peace decision, and the Lebanese military having power over all Lebanese soil and all Lebanese borders.
Thank you very much, sir.